first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet app and sign up with promo code USL to get started today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
A great lawn is like a great sports team. It takes expertise and a little extra care to really stand out. That's where True Green comes in. They're the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour, so they know a thing or two about keeping grass looking like a fairway. It's more affordable than you think, and they'll even match any competitor's price. Plus, True Green backs it all up with a satisfaction guarantee. Head to TrueGreen.com today. Let the pros do the work while you sit back and enjoy the results.
Limited time offer. Restrictions apply. See site for details.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You don't have to go somewhere else just so you can go somewhere new. Plan your next vacation with Huntsville International Airport and Breeze Airways. Enjoy friendly, convenient, nonstop travel to some of the most exciting destinations in the U.S., including the home of iconic casinos, world-class shows, dining, and entertainment. Las Vegas. With flights starting as low as just $79, Breeze has got you covered with easy, breezy, nonstop flights to Las Vegas. Book nonstop to Las Vegas now at flybreeze.com.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the University of Alabama, this is Crimson Tide Today. It's daily update on Bama sports, and it's brought to you by Conecuh Sausage, a true Southern flavor since 1947, and Conecuh is the official smoked sausage of the Crimson Tide. Order online at ConecuhSausage.com. Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. On Monday's edition of Hey Coach, presented by Alpha Insurance, we were joined by Alabama's Associate Athletic Director for Sports Medicine, Jeff Allen.
People enjoy watching players play, but what you're going to get a chance to see Saturday is something that you don't get a chance to see at all, and that's how do we practice? What do we go through? Because it's going to be a real practice. We've had open practices before, but I don't know if we've ever had one like this, where it's going to be a get after it kind of practice, and you're going to see some competition and probably see some things that you wouldn't see in the game. Sometimes the A-Day games are here or at other places, their spring games are very scripted, this is what we're doing. This is going to be, they'll be doing one-on-one drills. They'll be doing 7-on-7. You get a chance to watch the quarterbacks. I think as from a fan's perspective, they'll see more out of this than they would in a game.
I'll have more in a moment.
Favorite jeans, favorite shirt. Got Conecuh sausage and I'm firing it up. Yeah, everybody knows. Now I get my grill on. You can smell that flavor up and down the road. It's a little taste of heaven. Everybody knows. It's how I get my grill on. Conecuh sausage. It's just a little taste of heaven.
Tomorrow for Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, streaming live at 2 p.m. Central on all CTSN social media platforms at UA_CTSN. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Conecuh Sausage. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
It's that time. It's 7 o'clock. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. That means we're off, we're running, we're brand new, and we are live here this morning on a Wednesday morning. We've made it to the halfway point of the week, and I woke up this morning and it felt like we were back in middle of winter. 36 degrees right now as you make your way into work, into school, wherever you may be headed. Your high today, 66 degrees. And as you experience these up and down temperatures, you might need to get your air conditioner, I should say, conditioned. And you should clean your AC unit. Yes, you should, but don't do it yourself. Give our guys from Talent Heating and Air a call. 256-503-4490. Let their talent do that work for you. Yeah, you can remove the leaves and all that debris around it, but deeper cleaning should be done by a professional. And Talent Heating and Air, they are the professionals that we trust. I trust. Everybody trusts. Give them a call, 256-503-4490. We also, one of the things we did not get to yesterday because we just had a lot of stuff to hit on and get through with the NCAA Tournament National Championship, Florida cutting down the nets. And speaking of Talent Heating and Air, they sponsored the 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bracket Challenge. It was presented by Talent Heating and Air. And a big congratulations to Intimidator 67. Intimidator 67 wins the 97.7 ESPN The Zone Bracket Challenge. And just on the off chance, this morning, if Intimidator 67 is cruising to work, 256-576-4977. You can give us a call, and we'll you've won a lot of prizes. Let's just say that. You've won a lot of prizes. So
yeah, I mean, I think John put out the bat signal yesterday on the blitz about Intimidator 67. I think I finished 48th. I'm radio voice 1, so I finished 48.
Why didn't you just go Drew DeArmond?
I don't know. It's what it is. I think because years ago you joined ESPN and you have to come up with a nickname or whatever, or a username.
You can change it. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I just, most people don't put their real name on it. So I joined ESPN.com several years ago, and I kept it. Now, I think over the years I've had to change my dang password because you get logged out and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I just made sure that I joined the right bracket. I think last year I was in the second. Group because we had 2 groups. That was kind of screwed up.
Yeah, we had 2 different brackets because well, this year we did not. This year we ended up.
I was in the top 1.6 million. Now I'll give a shout out to David Sharp. I think he was in the top 6,000 or something.
Yeah.
He was in the 99th.
Look, I think there were more brackets that were together this year than any other years because of the lack of upsets. If you just picked the favorites, you did better this year.
Chalk, I mean,
if you went with the 1 seeds, but in the back of your mind, you're sitting there saying, well, the 1 seeds, it doesn't happen. It's only happened once, so it can't happen again. So I've got to pick the upset. A lot of people went
with the SEC because the SEC was the greatest of all time.
Yeah, you can't deny that.
It wasn't anticlimactic. I can say that.
You can't deny that
because the Big Ten or Notre Dame wasn't in it.
So the SEC, obviously, it's been 2 years since they won the football national championship, but they've got the basketball championship. And this is what's amazing is you think about it. The SEC has won 3. Well, no, 4. I think 4. Kentucky, I think's in there. They've won 4 national championships. I could be wrong. But the first thing that comes to my mind is they've won 4 national championships in basketball since the Big Ten has won their last one.
Well, they've won. Let's see.
Florida's won 3.
This would be 4 now because
Kentucky's got one in there,
3,
right?
3 for Florida, 1 for Kentucky because we had, as we said, Arkansas was 94, so that was before that. But yeah, there's been 4.
4 national championships claimed by the SEC in basketball.
Gators, only 1 Kentucky.
Yeah.
So
since the Big Ten has won their last college basketball national championship. So
see, that's I guess that's Todd Golden's next goal is to get them among blue blood status. If they could win at least win another one in the next 3 or 4 years.
Do they have to win another one?
That would be 5. Scott, when you start getting to the 5,
I'm just saying. I mean, What is
Four
the
and five,
magic
I should
number? What's the magic number to say you've gotten that status?
If you start getting 4, 5, 6, if you start getting into that, then you start having to consider them a blue blood. It's just like the discussion, because they didn't consider UConn a blue blood 2 years ago. They had won 4 of them, and now they've won 6. Right? Is it 6, 5, or 6? I've lost count.
Who's that?
UConn.
Yeah,
because they won in 99. 99 was the first one, then 04, then 14. I think it's 5. They've won 5 because they won. Because I think when Dan Hurley won it, that was the first time since 14. So I think it's 5 now. So they've gone from 3 to 5. So once you go from 3 to 5, I was looking at it the other day because Indiana has 5. So you start, and I've even made that argument that Indiana, some people don't consider them a blue blood anymore because the last one was in 1987. But of course, I will be honest with you. A lot of these media idiots, they still consider Notre Dame a blue blood, and they hadn't won anything since there was VHS tapes. So if you still consider Notre Dame a blue blood because of their history, you've got to consider it Indiana one as well.
So on the college football side, we look at the SEC as being really top heavy.
Yeah.
Alabama, LSU to a certain extent, and Georgia. I mean, basically it's Alabama, Georgia, and that's about it when it comes to potentially winning the national championships. Texas is in there. You throw Texas in the equation.
Playoffs, only one of them in the SEC, but they've done that. So that's improved the depth of the SEC. Ole Miss last year was playoff caliber. They didn't take care of business, but the depth of the SEC, it's a whole hell of a lot better than the Big Ten and the rest of these sad sacks.
In basketball, in the last decade, Auburn, Florida, Alabama, and South Carolina are the 4 schools that have made the Final Four.
I mean, here's the deal. I mean, it's a week-to-week thing.
Is it top-heavy, though, in basketball like it is in football, though, the conference?
No, the SEC is the by far the deepest league.
Okay.
I mean, Scott, when you get 14 teams.
No, I know, but people are going to argue that, yes, we got 14 teams in. Yes, the conference got 14 teams in, not we, but the conference got 14 teams in. But the bottom half, they got in there. They didn't do anything. They get their one game, they lose, and they're gone.
The rest of these leagues are over here. The ACC, they would be. I mean, 3. It's a magic number. Yes, it is. It's a magic number. And then by the end of the first weekend, it was 1. That's all that was left. That's all they had.
Is a lonely number.
That was due. If it wasn't
the
for
loneliest
due,
number.
it would be in the toilet because we wouldn't have had anything.
I know it's picking, and because we're going to go through the same.
That's when your bottom is awful, when you only get 3 teams for it. And trust me, the SEC was there. When Kentucky won it in 12, that was the SEC. It was basically Kentucky and Florida. They dominated the league, because Billy made his last Final Four appearance like 2 years later before he ended up going to the NBA. And so Todd Golden has revived the Gator program. But I'm just saying that by far and away, the SEC is the deepest league in softball, baseball, basketball, and it's about to be in football. All these, yackers.
No, that's what the point is.
They're enjoying the fact, oh, God, Ohio State and Michigan won it the last year. Well, you might as well enjoy that. And you should if you're the Big Ten, but it ain't going to last because the SEC is fixing to come back and smack you upside your head.
As we just continue to put that bow on the 24-25 college basketball season, do we look at so Auburn and Alabama, you add them, that's 3 Final Four appearances there. It's not a failure if you don't win it. I mean, It's not a failure. If you get to the college football playoffs, the expectations are you've got to win the whole entire thing. Otherwise, the season is a bust. If you do not win, if you get to the Final Four in college basketball, which is probably one of the hardest things to do on the planet, do you look at it? When do the expectations change for either program?
Which program?
Alabama and Auburn. When do the expectations change?
I mean, the goal is not just to make the tournament anymore; it's to advance.
Right.
And it's not a failure if you go to the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight or the Final Four. That's crazy. I mean, I know the Duke fans are really disappointed because they didn't get to the national championship game and have a chance to win it, but it was still a ultra successful season. You're talking about a guy in John Shire, that's following Coach K, who I think, along with John Wooden, are the two greatest to ever do it. And I know there's critics of Wooden because of Sam Gilbert, but he won the games, and I know it was a smaller field. It was a smaller field, but he still did it 10 out of 12 times, which has never been done before or since. So Coach Wooden, Coach K, to me, though they're the two best to ever do it. Coach K won it 5 times. So when you're having to follow a guy like that, and John Shire every year's gotten better, round of 32, he got to the Elite Eight and then the Final Four. It's a matter of time, I think, before he wins a national championship. And people have to understand, Coach K took nearly a decade before he won it all at Duke, and he got to several Final Fours, and I think he went to maybe 4 in a row, and he didn't win it, and people were questioning if he would ever do it, and so I just think when you think about it, I want to say 86 may have been his first, because he went in 86, and then they went in all Christian late every year, and then after that, I think it was the next year he got there may have been 88, but he went 88, 89, 90, and 91 and 92. So he went several times, but it took him until 91 to break through.
Right.
So it's just one of those things where, it's not easy to do. And so you have to continue to chop wood and keep, and first of all, you identify the coach like a Coach K, like Duke did. And certainly he had opportunities to go other places, but never wanted to. Alabama's tried to make it enticing enough for Nate Oates to stay. And again, in this climate, it's even tougher to build a roster. I mean, look at Coach K, Roy Williams, Jim Larinaga. These are some great coaches. These are some Hall of Fame coaches. Leonard Hamilton, that are stepping aside and retiring because it's so hard to build a roster now. Tony Bennett, Jay Wright. There's been some Hall of Famers that just didn't want to deal with the agents, didn't want to deal with what it takes to build a roster now. And it's just, it's really a young coach's game. It's really a tough deal. And I mean, and I don't think Jim Boeheim got out of it because of that, because Coach Boeheim was in his 80s. I mean, he was an institution. I just think it was time
for him to move on.
But I mean, what a remarkable run he had. So, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's the sport's moving in a different direction in a new era. But I think John Shire's doing a great job. And in college basketball, it's going to become harder to win one in football too. But it's still, in my opinion, not as hard as doing it in basketball, because I just think in football, certainly it's a grind. You have to avoid injuries and things of that nature. But I mean, let's put it this way, and this is only the first year, the only sample size we have.
Yes.
But I think everybody saw once the playoffs started, in Ohio State, smashed Tennessee, and then the way they did, and the way
smashed it. Well, I keep thinking of the Will Howard comments that he told John Gruden a day or so ago in his quarterback thing that Tennessee came out of that game. They came out shirtless. They warmed up shirtless. Yeah. And Will Howard's response to John Gruden after watching that video was, I can't believe those effing clowns out there warming up without their shirts on.
Well, I mean, when you saw how they dispatched the Tennessee, and then you saw how they just racked Oregon.
Yeah.
After they lost a classic in the regular season, I think everybody looked at each other and thought, okay, barring the unforeseen,
these are the best teams.
I mean, Ohio State's going to win.
Right.
I mean, I think everybody understood that. And so, hell, did they lose to Michigan? But then, Michigan beat Alabama because without several players that opted out because they had Ebby Calvin and LaLoosh, trying to throw the football. It's somebody now that I got to get this Hillier on about all this.
Somebody from CBS, there was somebody from the Sporting News or CBS or one of the now that says Milrose probably like 110th pick or 120th pick. Like they have him fall down the board.
The last 2 days, all it was he's going to the green room and all this stuff, and then there's going to be somebody like the Cleveland Browns take him in the first round. I mean, look, Milroe, you don't want to go to Cleveland. Sorry, John, but you just don't. If you do, you're going to lose a lot.
Worse than Johnny Manziel.
Oh, my God. I mean, Jimmy Haslam still owns the team, you know. He cares more about Tennessee than he does the Browns.
So
and it's sad because the Browns traditionally, before they restarted, was a great organization.
Oh, Bernie Kosar,
just consistent as hell with great fans, won all the time. And then they restarted after they left to go to Indianapolis or whatever Baltimore.
But they went to Baltimore.
They went to Baltimore when Art Modell took them to Baltimore, and then they had to restart. And ever since they restarted,
disaster.
I just don't. I mean, and I really thought they would. It takes a few years, but I thought they would reestablish themselves. They'd hire the right people. I think they gave it a shot. When did Jimmy Haslam buy the Browns?
I don't know.
I'd have to look that up.
It's not like I pay it. I'm sorry.
I don't either. But
it was around 2012.
Okay, that's. I mean, because they did actually win a playoff game. Our good friend from Lincoln County, Kelly Holcomb, quarterback into a playoff win.
I do still have his pilot mug though. His mug that he gave us from the SEC. I do appreciate him for spending money on us that way.
Pilot Flying J, and we got $5 gas cards. Were they 10? I can't remember.
I think they were $5 to put gas. It was like, I got a gas card.
Well, I mean, it was
fun.
Though that could buy 3 gallons under Dr. Dumbass and the previous administration in Bidenomics. That buys you like maybe a half a gallon or maybe one.
7:17 here on a Wednesday morning.
If you live in Oregon where your son lives, it wouldn't buy you any.
Turn on the pump.
That would be a tip for the person who was going to pump your gas.
Well, the good thing is, Oregon, now you can pump your own gas. You don't have to worry about it. They passed the law now where you don't have to have. And, John, you laugh. Everything was full service out there. You could not pump your.
You can't pump your own gas.
It was $7.50 a gallon, and you had to pay full service.
That's not even a full gallon.
At Costco and Sam's, you couldn't even get out and pump your own gas. They had people doing it for you, and you paid an arm, ass, and a leg. Literally. Yeah. I wasn't even there, and I paid an arm, ass, and a leg.
Several years ago, I was in Huntsville, and I think they had one left, and it freaked me out because I stopped there and I never had. And hell, somebody knocked on my window, and I thought I was being panhandled. I ain't going to lie. I was like, what is this? Like, I had never even, and what can I do for you?
I think I'm wondering, the gas station by Huntsville Hospital.
It was the one, on Whitesburg.
And right there right across the street from Huntsville Hospital, right there by Tender. Well, it's the one right by Tenders now, right? They're literally right across the street.
Okay.
That one at one time was still full service.
Well, there was the one I'm talking about. It may have even been torn down by now. I don't know, but it was several years ago, and it was over there near the hospital as well. But it was just down from Burger King on Whitesburg.
Yeah, I don't know if I know there's some voluntarily full service gas stations around the area where they'll voluntarily do it for you.
Yeah.
But I don't think I don't know if there's any full service gas stations here in town anymore. Right. We got to get a break in though. Let's get one in. When we get back, we'll get to your phone calls. It's Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The sound of the organ. The crack of the bat.
It is gone.
The sight of watching the ball go over the wall. And the taste of peanuts and Cracker Jacks. There's nothing like it. It's America's pastime. From the first pitch to the final out, you can hear every game right here on your home for Alabama baseball.
Your home of the Alabama Crimson Tide is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Is your concrete sinking? Whether it's your driveway, sidewalk, or patio, those uneven surfaces are not just ugly, they're dangerous. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They use state-of-the-art concrete lifting solutions to prevent tripping hazards, and they're the best at what they do. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
Have you discovered Good Company Cafe? The place for breakfast, brunch, lunch, and so much more. Enjoy brunch all day and pair with one of our many seasonal refreshing drinks, including alcoholic and non-alcoholic options. Choose inside or outside on our gorgeous, spacious, dog-friendly patio and have some fun with friends playing yard games in the courtyard. See catering, to-go options, and lots more at goodcompany-cafe.com. Good Company Cafe, 7500 South Memorial Parkway.
Dang it. There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Here it is. Uh-oh. Seesaw.
Is a magic number. Yes, it is. It's a magic number. Somewhere in the
poor ACC. Seriously. Because do they even have three teams on the football side that are even relevant?
One. It's one. We got now. We come back, John. You guys find Metallica one. That's what we're gonna have to find.
Because is that it for the SEC?
Yes. What? No.
I mean the ACC. Is that it for the? I mean, look, they got three in the basketball tournament.
I know.
They got
in
one.
One. And it's because it's an automatic qualifier. One. They got two this year.
Yeah.
And it was a damn joke.
Yeah.
We all know it. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's one. Metallica one.
Let's go out to the phone lines. Mark from Spring Hill is with us. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, morning, guys.
Morning.
Hey, let me get right to something that's bothering me that DeBoer has done, and I'm just going to say it now. Is the spring game. Last year I went to it and left at halftime. Went over to the softball game. And everybody has a right to an opinion, and here's mine. Instead of saying we don't have enough players, I don't ever remember Saban saying that, and I'd like to see the spring game change where we play other teams, Southeastern Conference only, or you can get other teams to come in. But the idea, do you ever see that being a case where you bring other teams in to play you? You have to go there one year, you come home the other year. Can you imagine maybe Alabama and Tennessee doing that, and just how full the stadium would be, and also more meaningful to the players instead of the joke that will happen on Saturday?
Well, here's the thing. There is a lot of momentum on the college football landscape side to do exactly what you're saying. Now, I don't see if it all matriculates and and comes together. I don't think SEC teams will take on other SEC teams, but you will have it. And there's a lot of growing coaches want it. More and more coaches want it to where you would come in and have some type of scrimmage, some type of whatever, kind of like what football is the only college sport that does not allow that to happen. Right. Basketball, you can have exhibition games. Baseball, softball, you can have exhibition games. Football is the only sport that does not allow that to happen. They want it to happen. More and more coaches want it to happen, Mark. It's all about, though, if everybody will get on board with it, but there is a feeling that it might happen in the future.
And the first thing they have to do is get the transfer portal closed, because right after spring practice, and that would be another, because then you wouldn't have to worry about, the team you play scouting you, trying to go after your talent's locked in. So that's what, in my opinion, is one of the first steps. But I do think that going forward, whether it's an OTA style or you're practicing against another team, or whether you have a spring game against another team, I do think that's what's going to happen. And I will say, I know people are frustrated because there's not an A-Day quote unquote game, but it's a practice. I've been to open practices before. You still get a chance to watch the team work. I can vouch that, with the number situation because of the transfer portal and injuries, there are spots even in Alabama, because Alabama's had a couple kids get hurt during spring ball, and they didn't have a lot of depth at tight end, and that's why they've really only got one or two right now, and both of them are basically quote unquote walk-ons because they had 2 or 3 leaving the portal, and then they had a couple of them get hurt. They had one of the freshmen get hurt. And then they also had Josh Cuevas was a little banged up. I mean, even to start the spring, he's going to be the starter. And then Danny Lewis already was going to miss the spring due to injury. So Marshall Pritchett, I believe, is the freshman that got injured just a few days ago. So they just don't have a lot of dudes. They don't have a lot of guys. And even when you see a guy like Kirby Smart, and that's the first thing that his mantra and his message was in the spring when spring started, is depth.
Yeah,
there are spots on your team, even at power programs, blue blood programs like in Alabama or Georgia, where you don't have the depth, and that's what the coaches are worried about. And you want to have your guys, like they're holding the Ryan Williams out. Those guys, the important thing is to have them in the fall and available for you, because they're the ones that are going to win you games.
And Mark, the reason why you say, and you said, I never heard this under Nick Saban, because the transfer portal wasn't really relevant for most part when he was coaching.
Right.
And so your roster, you didn't lose 20 guys. And keep in mind, we hear of the big guys leaving the portal. We don't hear a lot of the walk-on, so to speak, or the redshirt guys that have never played. We don't hear a lot of those guys going into the portal, but you lose up to 20-some guys in the portal. That's depth for like spring that you haven't replaced
yet. Right now on offensive tackle, they don't have a ton of depth. They got Ola Salinen with the ones at the left tackle, and he's a guard.
But you don't hear the 4s and the 5s. The real big depth chart numbers aren't there yet because you don't have all your numbers in there in school yet.
Not just at Alabama; it's tough. It's everywhere. College football.
Well, and my last point, guys, I agree. Is this could save the mid-major programs if you did this in the spring. You may imagine a UAB or a Middle Tennessee State University, someone like that coming in. You're going to fill up these stadiums. I mean, Alabama would fill it up. Tennessee would fill it up. I think you bring. You just bring a team in and just and no kickoffs. No punts, and just play the game. And I just think that's what's best for college football. And you're talking about raising a lot of money for NIL. I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah, that would be the way to do it. You'd have to probably split the gate though, because somebody's going to be coming and they're going to be having to travel to your stadium and miss an opportunity to have their own spring game.
Right.
So you would probably have to have a way of splitting the gate
and making it for, and remember when college basketball first started these exhibitions, everything went to charity, and it had to be for charity. And, Huntsville and Memphis came here this past season. That was for charity.
Right.
A lot of that money raised, not everything, but a lot of the money raised went to a great cause, and that is to put those ADs in city parks. around the area so that, those AEDs can be out there. 7:30 on a Wednesday morning. Great phone call, Mark, 256-576-4977. You can join the conversation. We do need to get a quick timeout in. When we come back, the phone lines are back open to you. And who knows, we might slip a little spring football conversation in.
To see these doors.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. After an incredibly cold morning across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee, we're going to do a reasonably good job of warming up this afternoon under a mostly sunny sky. Now, temperature's still going to be below average, but at least we're going to see numbers climb into the mid-60s this afternoon. Only dropping into the mid-upper 40s as we head into the overnight, early into your Thursday morning, a partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky Thursday afternoon. We're also talking about a fairly healthy opportunity for some scattered showers and thunderstorms across the Tennessee Valley. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
There is power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement. It's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
This is Steve Moulton from 97.7 ESPN The Zone, and this is What's Happening. Be sure and download our app. Just search 977 ESPN in your Google Marketplace or your Apple Store, depending on your device, so you can take us wherever you might go. And you can also check out our latest zone deals. Head over to our website, 977ESPN.com. The top left banner reads, "Savings never tasted so good." Click on that, then enter in the Big Zone Deals store for half-off zone deals of Lawler's Barbecue, Sea Salt, Carrabba's Italian Grill, Bubby's Diner, Corlejos Mexican Grill, Bad Daddy's Burger Bar, Divergence, Full Moon Barbecue, Bigfoot Little Donuts, Hickory Store Barbecue, Good Company Cafe, Apple Lane Farms, the Decatur location, and rounds of golf at Cherokee Ridge Golf Course and Gunter's Landing. And that's what's happening.
Rocket City, for air that's cool and clean, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Get HVAC smart with Professor Green and the expert team at sensagreen.com. Now offering up to $1,500 off any new Bryant system. Whatever it takes, Sensa Green has Huntsville covered. Remember, folks, with innovative, sensible green solutions, contact Sensa Green Heating, Cooling, and Insulation.
Sports Talk, 24/7, 365. Your full-time sports station.
You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
Is 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Anyone do any work around this joint anymore?
Station 1, JCC, that's their new song. They need to do that on all their promos on the ACC network, and they're not number 1 either.
We're just one. Is that their motto now? We're just one.
We pray we get one.
We pray we get one. We pray we get one. Boy, I tell you, you think about it, the ACC for years dominated the college basketball landscape. It was the ACC and the Big Ten. That was it. And the Big East. The Big East always had great representation. And the Big East had to reinvent themselves because they got cherry picked.
Yeah.
And they lost a lot of the traditional Big East teams. They're not there anymore.
Well, one of those, I think it's a 30 for 30 or whatnot. It's fascinating. It's the biggest mistake the Big East ever made, and a lot of the diehards will tell you that, is when they added football. And then Miami and all those teams came in, Pitt. They didn't, or excuse me, Pitt was already there. But they added, Miami, they added Rutgers and all these teams. And they just they didn't need to play football. It needed to just stay where it was.
Stay basketball, stay.
Yep. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Syracuse has always had football, and they had football playing members. But, and probably I know,
think about that, though. Miami, Syracuse, Pitt, all members of the Big East, all good big-time members of the Big East, all leave.
But, I mean, it's been cool to watch the Big East reinvent itself.
Yes, it has.
Where it's just a basketball league. Now, what's going to be fascinating is, can UConn – I know they're fixing to do the revenue sharing and everything. And I bring up UConn because they have football. Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to just decide to stay in the Big East? We know they've been flirting with other leagues. Or are they going to move? Are they going to try to strengthen their financial situation? And for football, do they drop it eventually? I'm serious about that, because there's even been discussions about UConn potentially dropping football. So, I mean, could we see UConn drop it? Because aren't they the only one in the current configuration of the Big East that even plays it? I mean,
I have to look. I believe you're right.
Well,
because St. John's, no. Creighton, no.
Well, Villanova has played,
but they're one. Yes, I was going to say though, but they're not on the level though of UConn.
If I were UConn, you could drop maybe to an FCS program. Maybe you want to do that, but I will say this. Football can be a moneymaker, and they have a high-profile coach now in Jim Mora Jr. I just wonder long-term if they're going to stay in the Big East, or if they're going to try to angle to get into the Big Ten or somewhere else, because they would fit in the Big Ten.
Well, I think football's independent.
Their football is independent right now, because they're in the Big East.
Yeah, they don't have anything. So I'm trying to think of where they could go.
The Big Ten makes the most sense.
Remember, that was the talk in 24 was would they join the Big 12? Remember there was conversation of them joining the Big 12 in 2024.
Yeah.
Wow. Richard is with us on the phone lines. Good morning, Richard.
Morning.
Hey, morning. Actually, UConn was in another league and went back to the Big East.
Yeah, they did. I want to say the AAC, American Athletic.
Yeah, they were. Just, basically, it was killing their basketball.
Yeah.
Out.
Yeah, because they were not in a major conference. You're right. Yes.
Yeah, but you got to think, when all those teams pulled out of the Big East originally, it basically took the ACC down and kind of did the Big East in for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Because the ACC hadn't been the same. Back the old days with like 9 teams or whatever it was back in the 80s.
Yeah.
In the 90s, in the heyday.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing on Mark, the pros I know used to have scrimmages.
Yes.
Out. I don't know if they still do, because it's all union.
Yeah, they have OTAs.
They bring in
other teams. Yeah, that's what
during training camp. The NFL will let 2 teams come together. They'll practice together for 2 or 3 days, and then when you see the game, when they play their preseason game, that's just the culmination usually of them having joint practices for 2 or 3 days.
And then I know college basketball's talked about possibly playing. I don't know if you call it exhibition or scrimmage in like July and August.
Yeah,
it's been talked about, but it's not approved. But I mean, a lot of the coaches for that, because most of your teams, have almost full squads in the summer. And because Drew's been, I think maybe went with me, and we saw Alabama practice in June.
Yeah.
Several years ago.
We've been to open practices, so in summer workouts, right.
So, they pretty much had the full squad in the summer. Going to your gas talk, back several years ago, New Jersey and Oregon were the only two states left that you could that pumped your gas.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, New Jersey, I think, is the last one standing. Oregon passed it a few months ago or several months ago that now you can pump your gas yourself. And so you don't have to rely on somebody else. I think New Jersey is the last state standing, I think.
Yeah, I was kind of like Drew. I was actually worked out in New York for a couple of years. And I was meeting my sister and son and a few people. When Alabama played Penn State, when McCarron was quarterback. But I was driving from New York City to I was meeting them some airport in Pennsylvania to pick them up. But I stopped to get gas in New Jersey. And I get out and get an argument with a guy. I'm trying to pump my own gas. I didn't know.
Yeah. So in 23, Oregon passed the law. It was at that time in 2023, when Oregon did away with it, it was a 72-year-old law in Oregon that would not allow you to pump your own gas.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess kept a few people employed out, but I mean, so.
Hey, I tell you what, those and some of those gas stations out there are not like what you think. I mean, some of them they put that little, like it's a small little shack there in the center, like just enough for you, like a toll booth type of looking thing.
Yeah.
And that's all that's there.
So
there's like 4 or 5 pumps, and this dude just sits, or this lady just sits in this little thing. And that is your Shell or Marathon or whatever gas station. Yeah, there's no thrill. There's nothing there. It's not like a convenience store.
No.
The 7-Eleven, that's all it is a convenience store. There's no gas with it.
It's one.
It's one. Yeah, you just roll in to get you a Coke or a Slurpee. Yeah, but the gas is like a little it's like a little toll booth thing, and the person just sits in it. That's all it was.
So you kind of wonder. I mean, kind of strange law, especially when everybody else went to self-service. Kind of crazy, but I'm sure there was some logic somewhere in it. But I guess, but like I said, you don't see many around. Nowadays at all.
Mm-hmm. Not at all. You're right.
Drew, I sent you the thing about how much college basketball outdrew the NBA. Like 6 million more people watched the championship game Monday than the NBA Finals.
I'm just shocked. And then the viewership of the women's tournament was down half because Caitlin Clark wasn't playing.
Yeah. Still got like 8 million, 9 million, I think, for this year's final. Last year was like 18 million. So
yeah, the NBA is just in the crapper.
Ugh.
Yeah. So, I tell you what, I know a friend of mine was talking to the promoter down in Birmingham for their tournament. He was just going, what do they have? I guess they had 2 regionals.
Yeah.
In Birmingham, and he was just going, why couldn't Caitlin Clark be this year?
Yeah, they could have. It would
I
have
think
been
they had
crazy.
good attendance anyway, but like I said, it would have just been, a gigantic event if if Caitlin would have been down in Birmingham. And like I said, you even had 2 regionals there, not just one, so you'd have twice the chance of getting her. So,
yeah. All right, Richard. Thanks for the phone call, buddy.
See you later.
Yeah, so the championship game between Houston and Florida, 18.1 million. Most watched Final Four weekend since 2017. So college basketball, you know what? Because there were some people, remember at the beginning of the tournament, that just said, oh, college basketball's lost its touch. It's lost its Midas touch. It's no longer relevant. Transfer portals ruined it. No Cinderellas. No one's going to watch the tournament. It's extinct. It's a dinosaur. But yet 18.1 million people tuned in. So
all the people that are saying that don't understand basketball. They couldn't tell you a basketball from a volleyball. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Saying, oh, there's not if you look at Cinderellas, there's not really any, okay, from the standpoint of they don't get only every now and then there's once in a blue moon a George Mason or an FAU get to the Final Four, okay? They don't win it, but they'll get to the Final Four. Butler, and then Butler used that platform to get themselves to the Big East, and now they're struggling, but they got to back-to-back championship games. They didn't win it. They came close. They were probably the closest they came to doing it. But when you think about Villanova and NC State, we talk about both of them being two of the biggest upsets to win it all.
Right.
Ain't neither one of them Cinderellas, though. I mean, this is NC State. This is Villanova. These are Big East and ACC teams. But I'm talking about they made all that point of, there's no Cinderella in the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight or the Final Four. There is every now and then, but they don't ever win it. So why would you think they would even win it? I mean, George Mason's run was tremendous, but they didn't win it. I mean, they were in 11. VCU is Shaka. They did it. They were in 11, but they're not going to win the tournament. It's great to see, but it was just great basketball, period. And if you didn't think those 3 Final Four games were outstanding basketball, just please stop watching. I mean, I think Nicole Auerbach, she's definitely been nominated for Moron of the Year. How anticlimactic was that ending? Wow.
All right, let's get a break in. 7:47. When we come back, a little college football spring conversations. Chris Lowe visited with both Kalen DeBoer and Hugh Freeze. We'll let you hear what he had to say next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Now is the time to sign up for the Eagle Installation WZZN Charity Golf Tournament to benefit the Make-A-Wish Foundation. This year's event is the morning of April 21st at Cherokee Ridge, and each member of the winning team not only gets the championship belts, but a full-year membership to Cherokee Ridge. Breakfast and lunch are provided, plus tremendous prizes and a chance to win $100,000. Cost is $800 a team or $200 per individual, and corporate sponsorships are available. Send an email to 977WZZNevents@gmail.com to reserve your spot today.
Flying nonstop from Huntsville is a breeze on Breeze Airways. They're nice people flying nice people to nice places on really nice planes. Let's be direct. Nonstop from Huntsville to the places you want to go. Las Vegas, Orlando, or Tampa starting at $49. It's time for a weekend getaway or a long overdue week away. Time to check in using the convenient Breeze app and check out. What are you waiting for? Book today at flybreeze.com. That's flybreeze.com. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title. Because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
Organizations using Salesforce know how powerful the platform is and how much time, money, and headaches it saves if it's set up right and you know how to use it. Let's face it, Salesforce is complicated and time-consuming to figure out, and a lot can go wrong now and down the road without expert help. That's why most Salesforce users work with an implementation partner like Higher Echelon, so they get the absolute most out of their Salesforce investment. Higher Echelon is a 5-star Salesforce consulting partner who won Salesforce Military Hiring Partner of the Year. President Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets. He puts that experience to good use at Higher Echelon, where they pride themselves on hiring veterans. Look, not all Salesforce partners are the same. Don't put your company at risk by going with an inferior partner. Higher Echelon is the trusted partner you can count on to get you up and running and seeing returns on your Salesforce investment in a fraction of the time it would take if you go it alone. Go to higherechelon.com. That's HIGHERECHELON.com to learn more. Go higher and go Army.
It's laundry season at Owen Home Appliance Center. Tired of that washer walking out the door and having to dry a load 2 or 3 times? It's time for a new washer and dryer. Pick from brands like Maytag, GE, Whirlpool, Electrolux, and of course, Speed Queen. Try the new 2-in-1 GE Profile that washes and dries a load all in one machine. Visit the interactive location in Lacey Springs where you can try the washers and dryers before you buy them. Owen Home Appliance Center. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service. It's in the name, Owen Home Appliance Center.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
Haven't you got a wife like this who sometimes drives in for gasoline with everything on her mind except the family car? Then maybe your car needs a friend like this. To you, to your wife, he's a Texaco dealer. But to your car, he's the biggest friend your car has ever had. One big reason is his Big Friend service. He's pledged to give it, even without being asked. He checks your car's health under the hood. Battery, oil, water if needed.
Oh my
to keep from getting
God. Is this the full service gas station?
He cleans your car's windshield to help it see where it's going. He does it for your car unasked and shows its driver, thank you, courtesy. Get Big Friend service at Texaco from local dealers like these. You can trust your car to
Oh, man.
The biggest friend your car has ever.
Oh my God.
That is good.
That's good, Johnny.
That is good.
Hey.
Anyway.
I know we've been talking a little spring football. We really hadn't talked football all that much, just simply because we've had so much hoop going on.
We have, and the reason why I wanted to bring up college football or spring football is the fact that Chris Lowe did talk to Kalen DeBoer, had a sit-down conversation with Kalen DeBoer, and then he journeyed down south and had a sit-down conversation with Hugh Freeze at Auburn. And the feeling around the Alabama program this spring, and Kalen DeBoer even said in the article was that, and he had player Deontay Lawson was talking about it as well, that last year Kalen DeBoer, it almost, you got a sense that everything he was doing at Alabama, and not because, yes, he was replacing Nick Saban, but a lot of it was first year stuff, and it was like the water coming out of a fire hose.
Yeah, you were drinking out of a fire hose right away. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're trying to install your beliefs, your program. You're trying to mesh it in with guys from another belief of systems, so to speak, under Nick Saban, and that you're trying to blend all of these messages. And the feeling is, and especially from Deontay Lawson, is that Kalen DeBoer has evolved, the relationships are deeper, and they feel more comfortable now calling each other out. Like there's a little bit more accountability. There's a little bit more things going on in spring that happens. And Kalen DeBoer even said when he was at Washington, year 1 to year 2, that there's just this difference in the program.
Yeah, I think he's much more comfortable. He had more success in year 1 at Washington when they won. I think they went 10-2, and they won the Alamo Bowl or whatever the hell it was. They beat Texas in that bowl game. but still, he was very close to winning 10 games at Alabama. And, of course, it bothers people because you lose to Vanderbilt. But, see, that's what I keep trying to tell people. Like, people have selective memories. Like, Nick Saban lost to Louisiana Monroe his first year at Alabama. And, of course, what they'll do is they'll say, well, Kalen DeBoer had a great roster. Kalen DeBoer had a good roster. He didn't have a great roster. And it's a volatile time in the sport where your whole team can leave year to year. So it's very difficult. You have to win the trust of the players. You know, they did lose to Oklahoma, who didn't have a great year under Venables. That's 100% correct. And they lost to a good Tennessee team on the road. So, and then Michigan had all the opt-outs. Probably Michigan sticks in everybody's craw. I still say if they had found a way to beat Michigan in an ugly game, which, you know, if Jalen Milroe could operate in the red zone worth 10 cents, they would have, because they had a first down at the 15-yard line. Then you beat Michigan, and the offseason feels you let Milroe go off in the sunset with a victory, and you win 10 games. That streak's intact, and people feel a whole hell of a lot better about everything. But the way you lost, the way Michigan didn't have several really good players that you're going to see go early in the first 2 rounds, and you know, Michigan had, and see, then you would have thought it would have been much better. You would have felt much better even with the opt-outs on Michigan's side if you win, because Michigan had beaten Ohio State, and who won the national championship. But you looked so bad in that game, and Milroe played so poorly, it just left a really sour taste in everyone's mouth. There was still going to be we should have been in the playoff, lost to Vandy, lost to Oklahoma. You know, everybody hates to lose to the Vomits, but still, I'm just saying it would have eased some of that, but it just kind of it shone the spotlight. It just made it worse because you lose to Michigan. You're already bitter because you missed the playoff. And then, the playoff streak is over, you know, and then of course, it's the first year of the expanded playoff to make it worse.
Right.
And then the 10-game streak is over. But again, I like the way Kalen DeBoer has handled this. There's no Mike DeBoe's panic.
No.
Of this stuff. You just got to stay the course. You got to believe in what you're doing, and it's kind of what you're referring to with what Deontay Lawson was talking about.
And in the article, Chris Lowe did talk to Ryan Grubb about the quarterback spot this spring. He said that the staff has charted every throw this spring so far. And when this article came out, Austin Mack had 162 reps. Ty Simpson had 158 reps. Those two have received the most work with the ones and ones this spring. But nowhere near did Grubb say they are ready to name a starting quarterback.
That's strategic.
Yeah. But anyway, so there you go. A little bit of news and notes there from Alabama Spring. They have their A-Day on Saturday. We can hear from Kalen DeBoer hopefully a little later in the show about the quarterback spot, what he thought after the team scrimmage this past weekend. Plus, Chris Lowe also sat down with Hugh Freeze. We'll talk about that in hour 2. College basketball talk next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. AI-powered betting models to help you make sharper picks during March Madness. Free 7-day trial available now at rhythm.com. That's RITHMM.com.
NASCAR Cup Series spring race at Bristol. Denny Hamlin, last week's winner at Darlington, is the 4-1 favorite. Kyle Larson plus 450. Ryan Blaney and Christopher Bell each plus 650. Chase Elliott plus 850. Scotty Scheffler, the 4-1 favorite with the Masters at Augusta National. That tees off tomorrow. He's minus 120 to finish in the top 5, minus 250 to finish in the top 10. Rory McIlroy plus 650. John Rahm 13-1. Colin Morikawa 18-1. The Braves today, $1.22 home favorite against the Phillies, plus 102, 9 over at Truist Park. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Yo, had to crawl on my knees and unplug. I don't know.
I think that's a long opening.
Somehow my long ass legs managed to hit the power button.
Oh, that's what it
underneath.
was.
I guess that's what it was. So I had to crawl underneath the desk
I didn't
and
know.
plug us back in.
I mean,
I don't know. I mean, because when I extend my legs underneath the desk, I come all the way out. I'm just sitting here and I can hit anyway. Oh, well, all that did though, that was buy us some time because Brian Matthews is going to join us here in just a little bit.
He'll probably wonder why you're out of breath, but you still got us plugged back up. Though.
Got us back in, got us going. We're good. We're good there. But Auburn basketball, successful run again under Bruce Pearl.
Ever.
Yeah, all the way to the Final Four. Comes up short against Florida. So now that roster is changing. And then obviously Hugh Freeze. And Drew, the one thing that Chris Lowe in the headline, that Chris Lowe put out for the article after sitting down with Hugh Freeze, and this is interesting. This is the headline for the article.
Right.
Auburn's Hugh Freeze eyes year 3 with no sense of panic.
Well, I mean, I don't.
That's
think
the headline.
I think certainly they're disappointed in the first 2 years. He wanted to win football games and go to bowl games, and they were disappointed. They felt like, and Auburn was close to. I thought they would go 8-4 a year ago. They were very close to doing so. They lost more close games just about anybody in the league, where they had games that looked like one in the fourth quarter and they couldn't put them away. So, I mean. But I still say his biggest issue has been the quarterback spot.
Right.
And really just an overall lack of talent on the roster when he got there. I mean, our next guest, he's been covering them since 2001, and we've got it in our archive somewhere. He told us when Brian Harsin left, it was the lowest ebb that he'd ever seen Auburn football. Like, if they had not hired Hugh Freeze, he was predicting a 2-3 win season at Auburn. And that is astonishing. And Hugh Freeze attacked the portal. They've been very competitive his first 2 years. They just haven't won enough football games. So that's what they've got to do now. Now it's about finishing and finding the right quarterback. And certainly their quarterback room has been completely revamped. And that's probably the biggest part of spring practice. And the interesting way that they've run spring going into year 3. And first of all, we pray that Coach Freeze's cancer diagnosis is continuing, and the treatment is continuing to go well. We feel like that they found it early, and he's going to be fine. But they've condensed spring into a 3-week period, which is a little bit different. But I know we're going to go out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Now we do have from AuburnSports.com, part of the Rivals Network, Brian Matthews. He's been kind enough to join us this morning. Brian, we appreciate it. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great, guys. Good morning.
Am I accurate with saying that about Auburn
There he
spring
is.
right now? I mean, are we?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The end of Gus Malzahn's tenure, Brian Harson's a couple of years just really set Auburn back in a lot of ways in the football program from a talent perspective. And I think Auburn over the past 2 years was still recovering from that. This
Yeah.
is year 3 of Hugh Freeze, in the portal era. You're not going to get 4 or 5 years to rebuild a program. So there needs to be some steps taken forward. But I agree with you guys. They've done a good job recruiting. I thought this last portal class was really strong, and this team should be able to compete much, much better than it has the last couple of years. Certainly the quarterback position helps out a lot.
Yeah, Brian, I know you've had your hands full with Bruce Pearl in the Final Four run, and we'll get to that here in just a second. But we were talking about Chris Lowe and him sitting down with Hugh Freeze, and Hugh Freeze saying there's no sense of panic in year 3. And you mentioned the quarterback spot. Jackson Arnold needed a reset, got out of Oklahoma. What's been the feeling around spring with Jackson Arnold kind of getting a look at this offense, getting a chance to run it so far in spring? I know it's limited. You really can't even take a sample size away from it. But what's been the feeling around Jackson Arnold this spring so far?
I think they've been really pleased with him and Deuce Knight both. I think they've had some real competition, feel like the guys are pushing each other, which is something they needed too. They haven't really had a lot of that over the past couple of years. So I think that's credit to Deuce Knight for coming in and being more mature than most freshmen are. But I think, Jackson has shown why Auburn made him a priority in the portal. Good fit for the offense, really determined to turn his, football career around here at Auburn, getting this second opportunity here in college. So, still, offensively, especially, I'm still Missouri on everything. I want to see it right this fall. But the reports I'm hearing from what little I've been able to see in the couple of practices we've been to, and we'll be out to one more tomorrow morning. I've seen a lot of positive things from both those two guys.
Well, and then if he has the success in the pros that could possibly that occur, I do think Jarquez Hunter's career at Auburn will be one that was kind of undervalued just simply because the team didn't have a ton of success around him relative to what Auburn is used to. But he was a very, very productive player. And I know Hugh Freeze, 2 years ago when he got to Auburn, Brian, I remember he told you guys that he thought Hunter was as talented a running back he'd ever had. But as far as the running back room right now, what's the buzz? Who is kind of trying to replace the Hunter's production? He was a really good player at Auburn for his entire career.
Well, Damari's been that backup, been waiting for this opportunity, I think, for a long time, and I think he's had a pretty strong spring. I don't know that I would call him the definite starter or the first team guy yet, but I think he's making that case, and I think Jeremiah Cobb is pushing for that spot too. Those are two guys that have really stood out from what I've been told so far this spring. Jarrell Robinson, the transfer, he's been out or limited, with a pre-existing injury. I think they've been pleased with Alvin Henderson so far and what he's shown. But the big thing with Alvin is just learning the offense. I think it's just going to be a process for him, right? I think once he gets that down, he will be much, much better. But that he's still thinking sometimes, right, going through things and not just playing ball all the time. But they like what they've seen from him when he has been able to cut it loose. But I think that's still going to be a strength of this offense. But the biggest thing offensively that I've noticed is Auburn's strength with the wide receiver room.
Yes.
Eric Singleton, Horatio Fields, Sam Turner, the freshman. I think they feel tremendous about those guys and those additions and how they fit in. And those guys being a part of the rotation or starting or being playmakers with that group that was, signed the four really talented freshmen last year. So I think that's the area that Auburn is really going to use if they can get the good quarterback play, as you mentioned, to really be a much more explosive unit. And I think that will help the running backs have a more productive season also.
Maybe this is the year Auburn gets 1,000-yard receiver.
It's been It has been a long, long time. 1999, or I believe is
You know,
correct.
we didn't even we only about a couple years ago did we even start focusing on that, and it never even occurred to me because, of course, I remember the year Ronnie Daniels had coming off of his baseball career, and Tuberville had taken over at Auburn, and he came out of nowhere. And then before that, we all know who it was. Maybe still the greatest Auburn receiver of all time. So, it's just. That I had not realized that it had been that long. I mean, because Auburn's had a lot of great players. I mean, I remember the Lawyer Tillmans, all those guys. Yeah. I just guess I never really remembered or realized that they didn't have 1,000 yards receiving. And of course, Coach Dye wasn't a guy that threw it all around, but you still just never realized that.
Yeah, neither was Coach Tubbs. I've had a bunch of guys get to 900 or 950 or 970, and just need that one more catch. So it's. They've had some guys come close, but you would think under Freeze, this offense, once they finally got all the pieces together, that was going to happen. So we'll see if Cam Coleman or Eric Singleton or one of these other guys can step up and be that 1,000-yard receiver this year.
Well, Brian, a lot of in the spring game is this weekend. Not spring game.
It's going to be practice, I think, right?
Spring practice. Is that right? So it's an
8-day practice and autograph session.
Just like Alabama, yes, that's they're doing it there, and everybody understands that.
Yep.
We talked about this though in the first hour. Are you hearing any buzz? I mean, I know Hugh has talked about it being some OTA type stuff doing that in June. But is there any buzz around the Auburn program that they want to, once this transfer portal stuff is worked out and it's probably moved away from after spring? Is there any buzz in Auburn about wanting to scrimmage someone else?
I have not heard that at all. I think what you wants to do now, especially, is to push everything into June with the OTAs. I think that's his that's the torch he's carrying right now. And I think there's maybe some growing, support of that. I'm not sure that it's a movement yet or something that's going to come up with the NCAA this year or next, but I do think there is some growing support for that idea. Just because of everything that goes on in the spring now with the portal, the deal with the injuries, the deal with putting your roster together, and maybe avoiding some injuries or getting some guys back from injuries that can be a part of your team a little bit later in the summer. So I think that's what he would like to do. I don't think with everything going on with the portal, there's going to be a big push for these spring games against other teams. I think if you do that, they're going to want to televise it, and coaches are going to be completely and totally against that.
Interesting. It's always good to hear from another perspective, and you have mentioned to us about that. Now, I will say I wanted to ask before we switch to basketball and a little baseball as well. One other position that I wanted to ask you that I think was probably the most disappointing position on the Auburn football team a year ago is they just haven't been able to figure out left tackle under Hugh Freeze. How is the left tackle competition going?
Well, it's not going as well as you'd hope, just because Xavier Chaplin, thank you.
Yeah,
it's been a long week. He came in with a pre-existing, I believe it's a shoulder injury, so he's been limited, non-contact type. They played Xavier Miller over there to give him some experience at left tackle. He's a possibility there. Tyler Johnson, they feel like is a more natural right tackle, so he's been working over on that side some. Connor Liu has been out non-contact this spring because of an injury this past season. So they felt like if there were summer OTAs, those guys would be ready to go, and they will be ready to go this summer. And they feel great about what they put in. The Murphy kid, who's a right tackle, has been full go, I believe, all spring or most of the spring. I think they feel really good about that addition. So I think quarterback and offensive tackle, especially left tackle, were the priority. They went out and got a couple of their top guys. We haven't seen it yet at offensive tackle, but there's still confidence that Xavier is going to be back 100% and ready to go by the summer.
Well, Brian, what a run by Bruce Pearl. What a run. Greatest run
so far in basketball history for the Auburn Tigers. Run to the Final Four, comes up short against Florida. This team from the beginning all the way to the end, impressive.
Comes up short against the national champion now. It's the best season in Auburn history. The coaches and players deserve so much credit for the work they put in, and how hard they played and the success they had. I think the 32 wins, a school record, another SEC championship, a second Final Four in school history. It's just it has been an amazing team to cover. Came up a couple of games short there of their goal, but that doesn't change the success they had. And I think people, once they get over a little bit of the hurt, of not coming up with the championship, will look back really fondly on this season. Janai Broome, what he was able to do is one of the best players in the country, one of the best players in Auburn history. I heard Charles talking about him, saying he was the best player in Auburn history. I'm not going to argue with Charles, but it was a terrific season. And the thing with Auburn now is, in a lot of ways, they're going to be completely rebuilding this team for next year. They're going to have to do a lot of the things they did a couple of years ago, bringing in guys from the portal. Some of them, I think they'd love to have guys with multiple years of eligibility.
Right.
I know Keyshawn Hall I believe he's a senior, so he may not have that extra year. But I think some of the guys they will look for will have that, because I think that made a real difference with this team, having guys like Denver Jones and Chad Baker-Mazara and Chaney Johnson and Janai Broome around for 2 or 3 years so they could grow in the program. And you saw how well Auburn developed those guys and how much better they got from when they first arrived to this past season.
Well, and that's a great segue, though. I know the Chad Baker-Mazara has been hinting of coming back, and Bruce Pearl talked about it. What about Denver Jones and Chaney Johnson? What are their statuses?
I think both would have to petition the NCAA or get a lawyer and fight it out in court if they want to come back. So I think that's under consideration, but I haven't heard a definitive answer from either of those camps so far.
We know both of them, but we know Chaney's situation. He did not go to junior college, but from what I understand with Denver, I thought he spent a year in junior college after he left prep school in Memphis. So if that's the case, I would think Denver would have a strong one to get another year of eligibility, much like Chad Baker-Mazara. Now, I may be wrong on that because, it was a circuitous route for Denver. Right. But I would think Chaney, would be maybe a little bit of a sticking point and an issue. But Denver, I would think they would have a shot to get back.
Yeah. I don't know all the details myself, but I know both are considering this as an option, although I don't think Auburn is necessarily counting on it, right? They're trying to prepare, without a lot of these guys back, just because they can't rely on it 100%. You just can't. You don't know for sure, because the rules tend to change every week or every day, depending on a court case here or a court case there, or a ruling before or against the NCAA, mostly against.
Well, while they were at the Final Four and on this journey to the Final Four, Bruce Pearl, though, picking up a few pieces out of the portal while they were making this run.
Yeah, and I think Keyshawn Hall was a great pickup. I mean, he's a 6'7" big dude, 235-ish, who can really handle the ball, who can play 2 through 5, who has a bunch of experience. He was the leading scorer in the Big 12 last season, 18.8 points, 7 rebounds, gets assists, 2.4 assists. So he's very, very versatile. I think he'll play the 3 and the 4 at Auburn, and a guy who can handle it, who can shoot the 3, who can be a playmaker. I just think he's a great fit for what Bruce Pearl likes to do offensively. And I guess I haven't really watched him defensively, but I'm gonna assume that if he's not a good defensive player, or if he's just an average defensive player, he will be a much better defensive player once Bruce Pearl gets his hands on him, because that's what happens to most players. But I think that's a great start for Auburn. They're going to need some more size inside, obviously. Some big guys. You saw how effective Florida was. They didn't necessarily have a All-American center forward guy, but they had 4 guys that could rotate in and just have that bulk and that size and that rebounding and some scoring in there too. And they had, of course, some guys who could hit the 3 in there. But I think Auburn needs needs some extra big boys in there to handle how physical the SEC has gotten.
Yeah, and then in baseball wise, it is such a meat grinder. 8 of the top 10 at one point in the time were in the SEC. Auburn's solidly in the top 20. Butch Thompson, you kind of warned us that they were going to have a tough road trip potentially to Georgia. It was rough. They got swept, and then they lost to UAB. But then they came out and took 2 out of 3 from a good Alabama team and just smashed them in the first game, 10-0. And then they get that win last night over a good Georgia Tech team. That's an underrated rivalry kind of. Auburn plays them every year. But talk about kind of where Butch's team is right now. They seem to be they had a small mini slump, but seem to be coming out of it now.
Very good win, I thought, last night over Georgia Tech. Auburn broke out to a big 5-1 lead. Tech had a big inning, scored 6 runs, came back, took the lead, and then Auburn fought back in those last innings to get a win. And Dylan Watts, I think it was 2.1 or 3.1 innings there to close it out, though. So a terrific win. I think this Auburn team, with as many freshmen and young guys are playing, has become more competitive. You can see this team growing as the season goes on, which you would kind of expect. And if they can continue to get this pitching staff better, Sam Dutton's been terrific. He threw that 7-inning shutout against Alabama, which is a really good lineup to do that against, right? And that was a very competitive series last weekend, especially that doubleheader. But those games could have gone either way, and both teams really got after it. So you like the way Auburn baseball is playing right now. They to me, they look like they're taking a step forward. Got a big series LSU coming up this weekend.
Really does.
No shortage of stuff going on now, is there, Brian? No shortage.
Right. Yeah. Basketball portal, football practice, football portal be opening up here fairly soon. Recruiting, Big Cat weekend was Saturday too, along with the Final Four.
Yeah, I was like, Big Cat, wait a minute. I was so focused on, basketball. Everybody was, we're used to that being in like May. I'm like, yes. Big Cat, what?
It's crazy. Auburn did pick up a commitment. The big offensive lineman Parker Pritchard from Columbus. I think he's an inside guy, pretty physical kid, a kid I think that really loves Auburn. I think he's a really nice pickup and a guy who can play, I think, in a couple of years here on this level.
Well, great stuff, Brian. Let everybody know how to connect with you. We know there's a lot going on at auburnsports.com.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And check us out at auburnsports.com. Follow me on socials, BMAT@AU, and give that Uncle Keith's red sauce a try when you get a chance. Delicious, homegrown right here in the state of Alabama. BMAT15 will get you 15% off that online order. You can find it at Publix, Piggly Wiggly, and Renfro's statewide.
Sausage biscuits yesterday, brother. It was great. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Take care.
All right. I made some nachos on Saturday, whatever.
There you go.
Oh, you got to dump the Uncle Keith's right on top of that. Oh, my gosh.
Versatility.
So good.
Right.
So good. Brian Matthews is good, though, too. We enjoy Brian. Not just for the Uncle Keith's, but we enjoy Brian for a lot of things. Let's get a break in, shall we? Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Would you call a plumber for a root canal? The same goes for selling your timberland or farm. Choose someone who understands your property and can help you on the front end so you can capitalize on the back end. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction. As a guide, I have put many hunters in position to take a shot. It's time for you to take your shot. Let's talk about putting you in position to sell your property. Call me at 256-609-0512. Remember, Bo knows land.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
I'm here with Stan McDonald of Jacob Title. Stan, I've heard that every real estate closing at Jacob Title is a very big deal. Why is that?
Wes, I'm reminded of a very impactful statement that I heard from Coach Gene Stallings years ago when he talked about big games and little games. He said he didn't like that comparison. He says, because try losing one of those little games. And if you ever do, it ends up being the biggest game all year long. Well, it's the same thing with real estate closings. Every game, every closing is a very big deal at Jacob Title. Because when it's your closing and your contract on the line, it's a very big deal, and we understand that at Jacob Title.
So it sounds like whether your client is a first-time residential buyer or a multi-million-dollar investor, they can expect your A game.
That's exactly right. As a matter of fact, when you bring your real estate closing to us at Jacob Title, we understand it's all about trust and confidence. And when Stan McDonald tells you that a chicken dips snuff, you can look under his wing for the box.
And like Beebs likes to say, there's no doubt about it.
This will turn journalism on its ear.
Watch our stream on WCZN TV on Twitch and YouTube.
But you are the greatest hero in American history.
We are 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
That was you.
That could have been Dr. Dumbass's song.
Or you eating a chili dog.
Oh yeah.
The day after the national championship game at 9:30 in the morning.
That wasn't smart, probably.
Anyway, for those that have been paying attention over the years, one of the greatest weeks of our lives. 256-576-4977. Feel free to join us if you would like to. Last night in the ATL, let's see, make sure I am ready for this. I am ready for this. Last night in the ATL, let's see, make sure I am ready for this. I am ready. This is what you got. See, that was on that there. I got to take that off. I need to take this off. Here we go. Last night in the Atlanta area, or Cobb County, I should say, courtesy of the Braves Radio Network.
1-0 pitch. And a fly ball, shallow left. Riley calling off everyone in shallow left field. He has got it. And the Braves take game 1 over the Phillies. Well, any win is a big win throughout the course of the season. It's not easy to win a Major League Baseball game. But this was a terrific ball game. And one that the Braves are able to win. And hopefully one that can give them a bit of a shock to the system and turn their fates around, get them going. But a big one over the Phillies. For the Phillies in the ninth, no runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. Final score, Braves 7, Phillies 5.
Yeah, that was quite a rally because I ain't gonna lie. I mean, Braves were down 1-0, up 3-1, and then they got down. Last I had seen, I think they were down 5-3, so I didn't have much hope that they would beat the Phillies. But it's always great to beat those guys, and like Ben Ingram said, maybe that'll get them going. I mean, coming back and getting a 7-5 win like that over the team that had come in, I think, with a 7-2 record and was in first place in the division. So maybe that'll get the Braves. Maybe that'll jumpstart them.
All right. Jump starting.
Yeah.
It's almost 8:30. It's about time for us to get a break in because when we come back, Andrew Hattersley needs to join the program.
Bucky ball.
Bucky McMillan is headed. Well, not headed. Bucky McMillan is at Texas A&M. Question is, who's going to take his job at Samford? We're figuring that out. As we speak. We're trying. We know maybe this morning Samford's going to announce it. That we do know. But I tell you what, man, you want to talk about a room full of cats nervous in a room full of rocking chairs because you got people that are nervous as all get up. That our good friend Mick Hedgepeth is leaving UAH going to Samford. You got people up in Nashville nervous that Lenny Acuff is going to leave Lipscomb and head to Samford. I mean, there are so many names floating around for this Samford job, and a lot of it is credited to the success that Bucky McMillan did while he was there. He helped put Samford back on the map for basketball. He is now at Texas A&M. When we come back, Andrew Hattersley will join us. We'll get his thoughts on the move there in College Station.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. After an incredibly cold morning across North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee, we're going to do a reasonably good job at warming up this afternoon under a mostly sunny sky. Now, temperature's still going to be below average, but at least we're going to see numbers climb into the mid-60s this afternoon. Only dropping into the mid-upper 40s as we head into the overnight early into your Thursday morning, a partly sunny to mostly cloudy sky Thursday afternoon. We're also talking about a fairly healthy opportunity for some scattered showers and thunderstorms across the Tennessee Valley. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Where's the best place for sports? What about the best place for wings? If you answered Jefferson's for both, you're right. Jefferson's is also a great place for value. Every Monday, kids eat free with the purchase of an adult meal, and teachers bring your teacher ID and you eat free every first Tuesday of the month up to $15. At Newmarket, Jefferson's will be opening a new location at 2190 County Road 65 very soon. Jefferson's, best place for sports, best place for wings. Hampton Cove and soon in Newmarket.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Never miss 1 second of Charger baseball with the Charger Zone.
Will Knowles has just given UAH an 8-6 lead. 5 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning against the number 16 team in the country.
Only on 97.7 ESPN.com and the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app.
Hi, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. You know what? It's amazing that one mid-major job would create so much chaos, and it has. Bucky McMillan was a surprise hire when he got hired to Samford, right out of the high school ranks from Mountain Brook, a surprise hire. And a lot of people thought, you know what? He has the panache to get it done. He can get it done. And he did indeed. Bucky McMillan rejuvenated that Samford basketball program. He put life back into it. He then, I would say, in some worlds and in some people's eyes, he was a surprise hire for Texas A&M. I mean, they go after Chris Beard first. You're thinking big names. You weren't thinking, I was not thinking Bucky McMillan.
No,
I don't know if a lot of people were. There's some people that may have. But
his name had been circulated at Florida State,
yes,
and NC State, and he hired Jimmy Sexton several months ago. So he was in the mix at places. But our next guest is with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, and we spoke with him about the job and the search just a few days ago. And he gave us the names that Gig'em 247 had put out there, and really we didn't speak much about Bucky McMillan, but sometimes that's the way these searches go. And now he has been hired. He has a 5-year, $19 million contract. It will be Bucky Ball in Aggie Land, and we're going to talk about that with our next guest, Andrew Hattersley of 24/7 Sports and Gig'em 247, as he's been kind enough to join us this morning. Andrew, I know you've been studying Bucky Ball for several days. How are you doing this morning?
Yeah. Good morning, guys. Yeah, thanks for having me on again. And it's been. I think there's kind of an excitement and an intrigue around the program and learning a little bit about Bucky Ball. He had his introductory press conference on Monday afternoon, and I think a lot of people came out of that impressed with his mindset. Obviously, he's been a winner wherever he's kind of gone at this point, and so I think it's been fun kind of studying up on him a little bit.
And that's the thing. And we were talking, Andrew, that to me, I mean, this hire, it was no secret. Texas A&M first choice was Chris Beard. They don't get him, and then they go to the search. They get Bucky McMillan. I know that introductory press conference was important because there were a lot of people that had to figure out who Bucky McMillan was first.
In that part of the country, not here.
Not here. We knew him here, but in that part of the country, in Texas, in College Station, I imagine there were a lot of people that didn't even know who he was.
No, you're 100% right. He probably surfaced, I'd say his name started to pick up steam probably 24 to 48 hours before, the hire became official. It started to get it confirmed on Friday night, I believe. And a lot of people were kind of like, okay, Bucky McMillan, okay, what sort of route are they going? Because there had started to been a thought that they might go with sort of a younger up-and-coming coach and then, look to maybe find that next guy, right? Like try to find that next home run sort of hire. I mean, because sort of the Todd Golden mode that, you find a guy who's kind of at the mid-major level and hope that he's kind of the guy that you need going forward. And so, the introductory press conference was really important from that sense, just for him to be able to outline what he believes in, what sort of style he's going to bring, how he's going to recruit to A&M. That was an important part of the press conference as well, was just outlining how he's going to kind of put this roster together. And so, all indications coming out of it is just from, the reaction we've gotten from our fan base and reading the message boards is, a lot of people have said, okay, kind of like this guy, kind of like the way he went about the press conference, kind of like the way he answered certain questions, and I'm ready to give this kind of a chance. So from that standpoint, it's been so far so good, and a lot of people, understand next year's probably going to be a rebuild. I'm sure we'll get into the roster, and a lot of people understand where that kind of sits and have said, okay, well, if it's going to be a rebuild, at least let's have an exciting, fun brand of basketball to watch while you kind of go through this rebuild, and hope that kind of rejuvenates the fan base.
Well, and then I know he's going to bring some familiar faces to the A&M family on his staff as well, Andrew.
No doubt, and I think that was important too. Obviously, he's bringing Mitch Cole and Kyle Keller, and both guys have been former A&M assistants. Obviously, Kyle Keller was the head coach at SFA and let go in the middle of the year, and Mitch Cole is somebody who's been out with him at Samford and was somebody that Bucky kind of shared during the interview process. He he kind of leaned on Mitch Cole a little bit and didn't need to ask him a whole lot because said, going even over the past year, 2 years, 3 years, and how, when he's been with Mitch Cole, all he's talked about is Texas A&M and being in College Station. And so I think that made McMillan feel really comfortable in taking this role and feeling like he knew a lot about A&M. And I think it's going to help a lot having two coaches that have A&M ties. We'll see what he does with the third, A&M assistant position. There's been talk about, will he bring back maybe a former player or somebody to kind of fill that role? And so I think it's a really smart move by him. Obviously he's getting up to speed on A&M and everything that comes with the school. And so having a couple assistant coaches there to help him kind of navigate everything, I think was a really smart move.
And one of the biggest applauses, I was listening to the press conference, and one of the biggest applauses was when Bucky McMillan told the crowd that they are going to have the nation's highest scoring offense. Because, they literally have gone from completely into the spectrum with basketball, where buzzball was just methodically slow and sometimes watching it just playing mud, to you're going wide open with Bucky ball.
I think a lot of people are really excited about that. One of the main complaints we've heard from A&M fans for the last several years has been, and it's honestly something that's been a problem under Buzz Williams, was the 3-point shooting. And A&M really struggled in that regard. They were many times, in the bottom 250, bottom 300, and guys that they brought in that had been good shooters at other schools, struggled and just could not shoot it well from behind the arc. And so a lot of times their game plan, kind of was built on getting to the free throw line, offensive rebounds. Buzz Williams talked about, there's certain times shots go up and they know they're playing for the offensive rebound. I think that kind of drove A&M fans crazy a little bit. And so to have a coach come in and say, we're going to have the highest scoring offense in the league, I think a lot of people want to see how the full court press is going to work in the SEC and how, our team's going to kind of be able to expose that a little bit at times. Is that kind of a big swing and miss, or there's certain games I could see, that could turn into track meets. And so I think it's going to be a total dynamic shift and kind of one that A&M fans are looking forward to.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt. And I just, if I know you'll be covering the games, you'll be on press row, and yourself and whoever the PA guy is, you better, the PA guy better take some lozenges, because you're going to see more substitutions than you've ever seen in your life. I can tell you that. And you yourself, I think I would probably not try to post the substitutions on your social media accounts, because you're going to get tired, because he plays everybody and his style is so different, but he knows how to create energy. There's no doubt about it. He's going to create a lot of energy with the student section and with the crowd. It's going to be something to see. It's going to be completely different than anything A&M's ever experienced.
Yeah, and that was one of the things we kind of thought about, was with the full court press, you're obviously going to need to play a lot of guys, and they're going to need to kind of build some depth. I think I was looking through Samford's, minutes per game last year,
right,
and they had 10 guys playing double-digit minutes, which shows you he really spreads things around. And, I think obviously he kind of joked about it this week with the style that they play. They've got one player on the roster right now, so he kind of joked he's got some work to do in terms of, you can't run a system with 4 players. So that's been the point of emphasis. But I think going forward, I think he does really want to build, and he talked about building depth and being able to run and getting guys that want to be able to do that and play his style. And I thought the other thing that was notable was when he talked about you need pieces. He talked about you need slashers, you need guys that can guard, you need guys that can defend. You can tell he's really got the idea of how to put kind of a full roster together.
Yeah. There's no question. The thing that he's gifted at is that's a perfect description. He gets people to buy in because he creates certain roles for folks and then defines those for people. And I think That's the thing that amazed me when I first met him over a decade ago when he was a high school coach. He was always been ahead of his time, and as far as getting buy-in, and you're going to see great bench energy, great body language. And again, I thought Buzz did a good job, but Buzz is a different kind of coach. This guy's completely different. And he's going to do a good job at Maryland. And I think this is going to create some excitement within the A&M fan base. I wanted to ask you, though, I know you guys probably had a chance to pick the brain a little bit of Trev Alberts, but once he got the no from Beard, what was the process? Did it lead directly to Bucky? How transparent has Trev been about that?
Yeah, I think they once they got the no from Beard, I think they kind of had to go through their checklist, right? Of there were some names that they knew they kind of had to go after, and if they got no's from, so be it. But you had to at least check off that box, right? You couldn't go through this hiring process and not check certain guys. So, Chris Beard was obviously target number one. Target number two was probably Grant McCasland at Texas Tech. Right. And, a guy that is obviously was on the doorstep of a Final Four at Texas Tech. And so, pulling him away was going to be hard. So they checked in on him. They did their due diligence on Chris Jans as well at Mississippi State. And so they did, Fred Hoiberg obviously was a guy that Trev Alberts was familiar with. Brad Underwood was another name that came up during the search. And, but then ultimately when it kind of got down to it, kind of got down to Alan Huss and Bucky McMillan and kind of two guys that were, I think, both in the same sort of mold, that they've done a really nice job at kind of the mid-major level. And we're kind of those next guys that we're going to take a step up. Luke Murray was obviously a name. I know the Maryland job, when that came up, was another name that Maryland fans were really excited about too. And so, I would say Grant McCasland was the other one that they, if they could have gotten him, that would have been a home run hire. And once you couldn't get those sorts of names, then I think they kind of zeroed in on Bucky and Alan Huss. And I think you're right. I think Buzz will do well at Maryland, and I think Bucky has a chance to do well at A&M. And ultimately, I think that will end up working out best for, both schools, and probably a good kind of, good time for both to kind of start their new chapter, start their new journey. And I do think, Buzz, we just had a story up on the site yesterday that Buzz, in A&M last year finished inside the top 25 and went the entire year inside the top 25 for only the second time in program history. So, I think that speaks to kind of the job they did last year.
NIL, though, I mean, we all know Texas A&M has it. I mean,
they have money.
Has this hire, has the Bucky hire excited them and said, hey, look, go get what you need for a team?
I think there's been numbers floated around that, 7 million is kind of a roster number, as one number that's been floated around. We haven't been able to get that kind of confirmed, but I think it'll take some time. I think he's going to have to kind of go and kind of meet with these donors a little bit. I don't think it's not going to immediately jolt them the way a Chris Beard or Grant McCasland would have, because those are recognizable names. I think it's going to take probably more time for him to really go out but they honestly, I think where they are kind of this year is they're going to need it to kind of, be able to put a roster together that compete. And so that's going to kind of be the back and forth is, between, trying to get people excited and involved. And, I think that process is probably still a little bit ongoing.
Well, it's going to be exciting. I can't wait to, hopefully we'll be able to feature, Bucky in the coming days and get his thoughts. But I know he's we've been using this term all show, drinking out of a fire hose.
Yep.
Because you're trying to get your staff in place, trying to build a roster, right?
We kind of checked on him, and he's been checking in on the high school recruits. They've got 3 signees. He's made contact with all 3 of them already to try to get that done, and then try to get portal visitors on campus. You guys know, as you do this time of year, it's an exhausting time.
It really is. Well, thank you, Andrew. Let everybody know how to follow you, and we appreciate your thoughts on Bucky, and we're excited for him coming to Aggieland.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, guys. Obviously, you can follow us over on gig'em247.com. Follow us on our Twitter pages at gig'em247 and at Andrew Hatz. And we'll have plenty of updates coming, plenty more from Bucky and spring ball as well. And appreciate you guys having us on.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks.
Awesome. Have a good one, guys.
All right, let's get a break in. We're going to wrap all of this up next.
Yeah.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The Braves roll into the 2025 season with a singular focus. Bring home the division title and remind the league what Atlanta is all about.
Swung on, driven to left center field and deep. That baby's out of here. Austin Riley. Trio to Olsen, and he powers one. Deep right center field to the wall. It's gonna fly. It's a home run. Back-to-back homers.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Organizations using Salesforce know how powerful the platform is and how much time, money, and headaches it saves if it's set up right and you know how to use it. Let's face it, Salesforce is complicated and time-consuming to figure out, and a lot can go wrong now and down the road without expert help. That's why most Salesforce users work with an implementation partner like Higher Echelon, so they get the absolute most out of their Salesforce investment. Higher Echelon is a 5-star Salesforce consulting partner who won Salesforce Military Hiring Partner of the Year. President Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets. He puts that experience to good use at Higher Echelon, where they pride themselves on hiring veterans. Look, not all Salesforce partners are the same. Don't put your company at risk by going with an inferior partner. Higher Echelon is the trusted partner you can count on to get you up and running and seeing returns on your Salesforce investment in a fraction of the time it would take if you go it alone. Go to higherechelon.com. That's HIGHERECHELON.com to learn more. Go higher and go Army.
Hello, listeners. My name is Jonathan Dunwoody, and I own Minuteman Press. We are a full-service print shop that is locally owned and operated. I have personally been handling direct mail for over 17 years and have a great relationship with the USPS. We are the only print shop in the area that is listed as a print provider on their website and the only printing franchise that can use their logo as our partner on marketing materials. We can help from conception to design, print, and delivery to the post office. And with our easy, secure online payment option, you don't even need to leave your office. Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama, located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Oh! What an end to this show.
Time does keep on. Tell you what, we've had the show, and then we've had the show inside the show.
Oh,
good
boy.
Lord. I tell you what.
Going to be an eventful morning.
Just stay tuned, folks. Just all I can say is that if you like college basketball, and if you are very familiar with college coaches in North Alabama, and that have spent time in North Alabama, just keep an ear out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to go past 10:30 this morning.
No.
Just stay aware and just stay. You got an hour and 15 minutes, and all hell is going to break loose.
Yeah,
that's all we'll say.
Yeah,
I mean it's going to be an interesting morning.
The buzz is palpable.
The buzz,
and not Buzz Williams, who we just talked to Andrew.
Oh man, this is like I said when we were talking about Bucky McMillan going to Texas A&M. And around here, it's created quite the stir because Samford, look, before Bucky arrived, that Samford job was a good job, but it wasn't a great job.
Yeah.
I mean, because the level of interest, and I say the level of interest, I mean even on campus.
Yeah.
The interest for a Samford basketball job among the administration was not a great job. I mean, it was a good job, but not a great job. Bucky McMillan comes in, ignites the fan base, ignites the administration. They have a change. The administration now is all on board with basketball and football and athletics. It's created that job to be a good job. And here in the state, we pay attention to it because it's a good job now, great job. We'll just say this, that there's going to be a name that we believe to be, we're not going to say it, but there'll be a job there, and you're going to sit back and you're going to say, wow, okay, it is a great job. And we'll talk about it tomorrow.
Dogs.
We'll talk about it tomorrow because tomorrow it'll be official.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Just got to update my Bucky Ball shirt. You know what I'm saying?
You going to get some Texas A&M gear?
I don't know about that.
Gig 'em, Aggies. Come on.
Go Bucky.
What you going to see? Everything you wear is going to be Texas A&M. If you get a Bucky shirt, it's going to be a Texas A&M shirt.
I have one that's a Samford shirt. Now it's a collectible.
Right, but you're going to have to get a Texas A&M shirt.
Need to keep my Samford gear though.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying, roll tide.